But we as a continent have now defined ourselves.
In the news, fallen heroes, Nigerian army threatens legal actions against people sharing pictures on social media. Chad leadership, at least 5 dead, dozens injured in demonstrations against civilian rule. On the upper side, U.S. dismisses accusations against Israel. World Bank, 299 investment plans approved for 800 beneficiaries. And in sports, Chelsea, Gerrard unlikely to renew contract as he ponders next move. Details shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital-first Pan-African news network. I am Rose Audu, and this is TOS News 360. 2 men suspected to be notorious robbers at the Tambia market in Yenagoa local government area of Bayelsa State have been arrested. They were arrested Tuesday by members of the Vigilante Service. The suspects, Kingsley Maswell, 20, and James Ebi, 23, were apprehended shortly after robbing one gold Ebi at the market. Former Nigerian Vice President Atiku Abubakar has decried the alleged complacency of the Nigerian government in its handling of bandits and kidnappers. Atiku spoke in reaction to the alleged adoption of some students of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makudi, Benue State, Sunday night. According to students who spoke with newsmen, their colleagues were adopted at gunpoint. 2 of the students, who are from the Department of Electronics and Department of Science Education, the school authorities and the police in the state have both confirmed the attack. The Nigerian Army has condemned the sharing of the pictures of its killed or wounded soldiers on social media platforms by the public. The Army described the action by the Nigerian citizens as unpatriotic, insensitive, and reprehensible, then vowed to take legal actions against those who are found guilty of such henceforth. This was contained in a press statement on its website signed by Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Muhammad Yavrima. Some unknown gunmen Tuesday at noon reportedly attacked a popular Nweke community in Esa, South Local Government area of Ebonyi State. It was gathered that the gunmen, numbering about 5, had trailed a customer to one of the commercial banks in the area, where they killed a police officer. They shot sporadically in the air near the bank, causing customers and staff to scamper in various directions for safety. Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has revealed that his administration has commenced work to produce a sustainable master plan for the cities of Umuahia, Aba, and Ohafia. Ikpeazu made the disclosure Tuesday when members of the University of Nigeria Alumni Association paid him a visit at the government house in Umuahia. He said the master plan would help to fast-track even socio-economic development and address the haphazard development pattern in the state. Senator Smart Adeyemi, the lawmaker representing Kogi West Senatorial District, has described the rate of insecurity in the land. In a video, the lawmaker is seen contributing to a motion on insecurity on Tuesday in the upper chamber of the National Assembly in Abuja, the nation's capital.
Whatever is our position, we have a chapter. We cannot keep quiet any longer. It has gotten to a point that we cannot sleep with our 2 eyes closed. We are not free. Our children are not free. The president must rise to the occasion. There is no nation that is so powerful that it doesn't need support of other nations. Individual cannot say you will leave the world without any other person with you. So we must rise. The situation is our security system has collapsed. It has failed. And because it has failed, we need to look for foreign support. It costs Nigeria nothing. Forget the ego, forget the superiority of Nigeria in African nation. Today, we are facing serious problem. If our nation is to survive this period, I'm not in doubt that the security architecture we have today cannot cope with what we are facing. Every part of this country is threatened. From the north to the south, nobody is safe. Nobody can travel 50 kilometers in our nation. I feel like shedding tears for a country that we grew up, where nobody harasses you when you travel from Lagos to Maiduguri. I've done it in times past. Today I cannot travel from here to Kaduna to Niger State where I was born. The president must know that this is a bad time for our nation. We must look for foreign support to save this nation. This is my position, Mr. President. We must rise to it. They are killing people in the east, in the west, in the south, in the north. We should shut down the National Assembly. Let's shut down. If we cannot save this country, we stay in our homes. Our country is bleeding. People are in poverty. There's no food. People are hungry. Insecurity is threatening us. We cannot pretend. It's better we are not here. That's the next thing that people are dying. Every day Nigerians are dying. We must rise to the occasion. And so me, Mr. President.
This is your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. You're watching TOS News 360. More stories in a moment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. At least 5 people were killed and dozens wounded in Tuesday's sporadic protests between protesters demanding a return to civilian rule and security forces in N'Djamena and southern Chad against the junta that took power after the death of President Idriss Deby a week ago. General Mahamat Idriss Deby, the regime's new leader, promised in a televised speech broadcast at midday on Tuesday to organize an inclusive national dialogue during an 18-month transition period. France, which considers Chad as its main military ally in the fight against jihadists in the Sahel, condemned in the strongest terms the reprehension and called for a peaceful, democratic and inclusive transition. The calm had returned in late morning in the capital after scuffles. Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed has bowed to domestic and international pressure. Early Wednesday, he said he would drop an attempt to extend his term by 2 years and called for elections and a return to dialogue after the extension of his mandate by 2 years sparked the country's worst political violence in years. The president, best known by his nickname, Famajo, in a televised statement called for urgent discussions with the signatories to an agreement signed last September 17 on the unconditional implementation of the above-mentioned agreement. He further stated that he would appear before Parliament on Saturday to gain their endorsement for the electoral process, calling on political actors to hold urgent discussions on how to conduct the vote. In a related development, as earlier Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Rubel denounced the proposed term extension of the president and called for preparation for a new presidential election. The heads of Harshubal and Gondog regional states, who had been staunch allies of the president, also rejected the proposed 2-year extension of Mohamed's term in a joint statement on Facebook. Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Rubel then issued his own statement calling for preparations for a new presidential election. Also, the United States Embassy in Mogadishu tweeted support for the premier and the 2 state presidents after they issued their statement. And Deputy Leader of Lesotho, ruling all Lesotho Convention, Professor Nkosi Mahao, has broken away to form a new party called the New Dawn. Professor Mahal on Tuesday confirmed the formation of the new party in an interview with a Lesotho-based newspaper. He said the new party had been tentatively named New Dawn. He said he and other unnamed ABC legislators had on Tuesday decided to form a new party because they were tired of the incessant infighting in the ABC. Professor Mahel added that the formation of the new party was likely to have far-reaching implications on the present government. There were going to be movements like in a game of chess. This is your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, and you're watching TOS News 360. To stay tuned. Welcome back. And on the international scene, the U.S. said Tuesday that it does not believe that Israel's actions in Palestine constitute apartheid. Earlier in the day, Human Rights Watch issued a new report accusing Israel of committing crimes of apartheid and persecution against the Palestinian people in the occupied territories. Asked at a press conference whether the White House thinks the report is accurate, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the State Department has its own rigorous process for making atrocity, discriminations and reports on human rights abuse issues globally on an annual basis. Tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors have been intercepted at the U.S.-Mexico border in recent months, forcing the Biden administration to scramble to identify additional facilities. Some makes shifted to house them. Under President Joe Biden, the United States has opened about 40 new shelters to house migrant youth. Meanwhile, Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador recently told reporters his administration will open shelters on the Mexican side of the border. Unaccompanied minors intercepted at the border undergo a two-step process before they are released to close relatives in the United States. First, they are taken to a border patrol station within 72 hours. However, they must be transferred to the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement under the Department of Health and Human Services and placed in facilities designed to accommodate the needs of children. The UK media outlets from across the political spectrum are engaged in an unusually direct confrontation with Prime Minister Boris Johnson over incendiary comments he allegedly made about the coronavirus pandemic. The right-leaning tabloid, the Daily Mail, was first to report that the Prime Minister said last October that he would rather see bodies pile high in their thousands than put the country into another lockdown. Moving on to business, Kaduna State Women and Youth Livelihood Specialist Ibrahim Yakubu says the agro-processing productivity enhancement and livelihood support project in Kaduna State is in the process of opening bank accounts for its trainees. This comes as the World Bank approves 299 agricultural investment plans of 800 trainees who are applied individually to the initiative. Approves project, which covers Kano, Kaduna, Enugu, Lagos and Cross River, was established to support small and medium-scale farmers in production of 11 selected produce, which includes wheat, rice, cocoa, cashew, ginger, agriculture, tomato, maize, cassava, poultry and dairy. And the Nigerian Ports Authority has barred the importation of sugar from free trade zones. Before this development, the chairman of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, and his counterpart Flour Mills of Nigeria, John Kamanteros, had accused BUA of setting up a sugar refinery in export processing zone in Rivers State, which came as a threat to the National Sugar Master Plan as well as sustainability of the country's local industry. Although BUA countered the petition, the letter released from Nigerian Port Authority indicates that BUA will be unable to sell its refined sugar from the Port Harcourt refinery in Nigeria. And you're still watching TOS News 360. More stories after this timeout, to stay tuned. Welcome back. Chief Strategist Officer of Deloitte West Africa, Tokbe Aladenusi, has disclosed that 5.5 trillion naira have been lost to fraud and cybercrime in 10 years. He made this known in an online meeting organized by First Bank of Nigeria titled Staying Protected Amidst the Pandemic Chaos. Harrison Unaji, Chief Information Secretary Officer of First Bank, also noted that the pandemic had an effect in digital access and has become a force in bringing people together, but that the online threats that people are exposed to is also on the rise. And on entertainment, Nigerian 11-year-old comedian Star Emanuela, who has been on the news not just from her comedy skits, but also in her first international appearance in a movie titled Survive or Die, has attracted lots of views. The movie, which currently airs on YouTube, was produced by filmmaker Daniel Okodua. According to the filmmaker, the trend of the movie cannot be separated from the feature of Emanuela, as it has 1 million views in just a week. The film, which was shot in Australia in 2018, has Emanuela as its guest star with Hawa Banners, Valino Doloso and Craig Burke. With over 1.5 million views already, the film had undergone a 2-year festival and was released on Amazon Prime and YouTube in 2020 and 2021, respectively. Moving on to sports, the Super Eagles coach Janet Rowe has told Simi Nwankwo to leave Serie A side Crotone if he's to have any chance of playing in the senior national team again. Simi has had a record-breaking season with Crotone in the Italian top flight. The 28-year-old is the joint third highest goal scorer in the Serie A with 19 goals, the most a Nigerian has managed in Europe's top 5 leagues. But despite his brilliant performances, it may still not be enough to get him a spot back in the Super Eagles squad. And Olivier Giroud is considering his options regarding his next move and is reluctant to renew his Chelsea contract, having fallen down the pecking order at the club. The Blues are willing to open discussions over a new deal for the 34-year-old, but it would only be a short-term extension and would require him to agree to a bid-part role. The Frenchman's current contract expires in the summer, and despite there being several clubs having started to mark contacts over signing him, Giroud has not yet decided where he wants to go next. And Manchester United fullback Les Telles has identified a familiar face for the Reds to keep an eye out for in the upcoming UEFA Europa League semi-finals with Roma. The Galarossi boast 2017 winners Chris Smalling and Henrik Mkhitaryan in their squad, as well as former Premier League players Federico Fazio, Jordan Verretot and Pedro. Telles says he is aware of the ability of the Romans, but named a 35-year-old former Manchester City man as a key threat. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital-first Pan-African News Network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com and do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. I am Rose Aldo, and thanks for watching.
But we as a continent are now